Hi everyone, I'm Angela and welcome to Crafting with Angela. So this is super fun, super weird and super cheap. It's paper casting using toilet paper. I'm going to show you how to turn humble toilet paper into works of art like these. These are flowers and leaves and you don't need many tools. You don't need many supplies. I'm sure you have everything already. So grab your toilet roll, hit that like button if you're into weird crafts, and let's get crafting. P is for paper casting as part of Margreth and Toni's ABC April 2025. So if you've never heard of paper casting before, it's basically using paper pulp to create solid detail shapes, kind of like sculpting but with papers. Artists, if you've watched their videos on it, will use make their own paper pulp and you can use junk mail to make that. But I'm going to cheat and use toilet paper because it's soft, it's easy to work with, and let's be honest, everybody has it in their house. We'll be casting into molds today. It's nothing complicated, but you can get creative with the shapes that you use. Okay, so this is what you're going to need. Toilet roll, any brand works, just not the super thick quilted type. I think this is a 3-ply brand new roll, and it's not too thick. You also want a sheet of kitchen roll. You don't need much of it, but that just helps stabilize the shape with it. A mold. Silicone molds like these are best because they're so easy to get the paper out of at the end. But you can use things like candy molds, soap molds, even kids' toys. Anything that you have. I picked these up online. I think they were £1 each, maybe not even that much. You also want a spray bottle with some water. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can use just a cup and your fingers. You're going to need some glue. So this is a really old bottle of PVA glue. That's what I use. If you have Mod Podge, you can use that. A brush. So I have this pack of stencil brushes. I got them in the UK in Home Bargains, and I think they were £1.19 for the pack of 3. What I like about them is they have the 3 different sizes. So they have the brushes in 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and 1/2 inch, or 0.6 centimeters, 0.9 centimeters, and 1.2 centimeters. And I like that with the molds that I am using, I can use the finer brushes to make sure I'm getting in there. So you want a brush. Optionally, you can use some acrylic paint if you want to jazz everything up later on. And then I have this, it's a plastic, what do you call it, paint holder, palette, plastic palette. I got a set of, I think it was 10 of them for £1 in Poundland years ago. And I'm just going to be using this to water down my PVA glue. You can use a dish, an old saucer, a piece of plastic, the lid of a jam jar, whatever you have, whatever you need, you can use that. And that's it. So I am going to be making some leaves and some flowers today. But really, you could go with whatever molds you have. You could go for hearts, gears if you like steampunk, or even dinosaurs if you're feeling wild. If you've got any molds lying around in your house already, let me know in the comments what you're planning to use, and I might steal your idea for my next video. Okay, so I'm going to be I'll make 2 of the flowers and 2 of the leaves. So before we start, you want to spray some water into your molds to get them wet. I'm also over here on my palette. I'm going to, if I can get it out and it hasn't dried stuff, let me just see. Okay, so I've just put out some PVA glue into the palette there, and I'm going to add some water there to water it down. You can play around with the ratios. 1 to 1 or 2 to 1 I think works best. Okay, so I have torn off some pieces of toilet roll here, and I have a strip of the kitchen roll. And what you want to do is tear off small pieces of this. You don't have to, you could do the entire part, but this just helps it to dry quicker. So I'm just going in and laying a slice of a piece of toilet roll over each of the leaves that I want to make. I'll do the same on this side. So we're just putting them over the two that we want, and you're coming in with your brush and just tapping down. This is really important to do because this helps get the air out, and it really lets it take the detail of the mold. If you're doing this at and the paper tears, because obviously you're dealing with toilet roll, which we all know there's a piece that just tore, is not the most stable of products, and it tears. Do not panic. We will get it sorted out when we put the next layer in. We're just wanting to make sure we're pushing down as much as we can into all the nooks and crannies of the mold, because these couple of layers are the ones that will give you the detail on the cast. The later ones give you the strength, but these ones give you the detail. So make sure you're pressing down. And then we're going to come in with some more pieces here and just set it on top. I probably have enough water in these not to worry too much at this stage, but if it looks like it's getting too dry, you can always spray a bit more water down. So again, coming in and tapping down. Just going to come in and spray this. Needs a bit more water in there. I'm going to spray water in each of them now before we move on to the third one. And then this time I'm making sure the piece is big enough to cover all of it, because I noticed on that last flower I kept missing the same section. So you don't want to end up with any pieces being paperless. And then what you want to do is every third or fourth layer, come in with some of your kitchen roll. So I'm just going to set this on top. Use those over there. And come in with a better piece of that flower. These are going to be stronger, so they are going to really help stabilize the piece. And this also then is when you want to mix up your glue. So I'm just mixing this water and glue up to thin it down a bit. Okay, and then all you want to do is come in with your glue and water mixture in with your kitchen roll, and just make sure you're patting that down all the way around. The strength of the kitchen roll is going to help stabilize it, and so is the PVA water mix. So I'm going to put each of these layers, so 3 more rolls of toilet paper and another layer of kitchen roll to finish. Okay, so that's another 3 layers of toilet roll. I'm about to put the last layer of kitchen roll on. And the one thing you will probably, hopefully will have noticed here is as we go through this, the definition of the image has massively decreased. You can no longer make out quite the same amount of the detail on the flowers and the leaves and everything. So that just shows you you're getting the definition in there. And every so often I keep pressing the edges down, and that's just to make sure I'm getting it right across the image, because sometimes it can be difficult to see when you get up to this sort of level. Let me just move them to the side, and I'm going to come in with this watered down PVA now and just come in and really make sure that that's pressed down tightly in. Can keep going till you reach the top of the mold if you want. When I'm doing these for junk journaling, I like to just get enough that I know it's going to hold the shape, because to me the benefit of doing these for junk journaling is that they're light. They give you the shape and they give you the dimension, but you're not weighed down with lots of them. So I always stop at this stage, but feel free, if you want to, you can press them on up. And now is the hardest part, and that's waiting. All we need to do now is let this dry completely. Depending on the size of your mold and how much liquid you've added in, you know, it can take a good 24 hours to dry. Sometimes with the smaller pieces it might be shorter, and you can speed it up if you want to put them in a warm spot and you know, maybe put a hairdryer or embossing tool, heat tool or something like that on it if you want to. I'm going to let these dry and then come back for the on molding. Okay, so my paper cast should be dry and ready to take out of the molds. I can feel all around here is all dry. So let's gently peel them out. Don't rush. Let's see. Oh. And that is what I really like about using these kind of molds. They peel out really easily. And can you see all that depth and all that detail on both of these flowers? And then let's just go for the, oh, yep, there's the leaves as well. So don't know how well you can see that, but is some really detailed images there. Look how crisp the texture is. You can leave them as they are, so you've just got a nice white, or alternatively you can paint them. So you could paint them, put a base coat of white on, and then come in with acrylic paints or acrylic markers. What I actually like to do, I'm just going to show you now. This is an ink blending brush that I have used my Distress inks and Distress oxide. So I have one blush. Oops. I have one brush per blending family. So this is my red blending brush, and all I'm going to do is, without even going into the ink again, is just come over lightly over the top and edges here, and that is just going to really highlight the dimension that we are seeing there, without going too in depth. So that's with the red on both of them, and then I'm going to come in with the green brush for the leaves and just do exactly the same thing. I think for the way these work best is not so much about being inundated with colour, although there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to see, but doing the brush like this really highlights that dimension that you're getting on all of these pieces. And then I think what I would do to finish these off, I think the leaves are fine. I'm going to come in, I have 2 acrylic paint markers, one in black and one in gold. So the one in the black, I'm just going to come in for the flower center and just kind of try and dot black seeds into, there's tiny dots in the center of that flower, just enough to again be adding to that dimension. And then for the other one, the center, I'm going to just come in with the gold and give it the idea of a gold or a yellow center, just to finish those off. And I think that really helps those two pieces. And then finally, all you need to do is cut them out. So I'm going to cut between them first of all, and then come in like this, and I'm just cutting at an angle underneath, trying to keep, you don't have to go in and out with all the ins and outs with the on the leaves. All you're wanting to do is cut at an angle so that the top edge is the edge that you have out. So let me quickly cut the remainder out here, and that is our finished pieces. So the two leaves and the two flowers. Just one last thing to notice, you can see it better in some of these than others. On the reverse of these, because I finished up with the kitchen roll, which has the blue dots throughout it, that's what you can see on this edge. That doesn't bother me because this end is always going to be glued against a journal card or a book cover or something like that, so it doesn't bother me. But if that does bother you, you don't want it to look like that, just make sure you finish off with the white tissue paper toilet roll rather than the using the kitchen roll as the final one. And there we go, that's our finalized. It's amazing how we went from toilet paper to really nice pieces of art. Paper casting is one of those things that's really relaxing. It's a little bit messy but super satisfying, and it costs next to nothing to try. If you have the mold, whether that's a mold for chocolate or candy, whether it's a soap mold or whatever you happen to have around the house, you just give it a go. You can turn these into ornaments, gift tags, mini art pieces, and like I say, what I tend to use them for is putting on the journal cards or as ephemera throughout my junk journals. So that's it. Paper casting with nothing but toilet paper, glue and a little time. If you try this out, tag me or drop me a comment. I really want to see what you make. Please subscribe if you're into creative chaos and budget-friendly crafts. And share this video with someone who hoarded toilet paper in 2020. They'll finally have a use for it now.